Hello and welcome to our webinar, Navigate Your Agentic AI Strategy with DataRobot. Hi, I'm Savita Raina, Head of Product Marketing here at DataRobot. Before we get started, a quick housekeeping items. The webinar will be recorded. The recording will be shared with you. And if you have any questions, those will be addressed in the Q&A chat. Coming to speakers. Well, as I already introduced myself, I have a pleasure of having a very special guest here with me, Santiago Hernandez. He's a CTO at Mercury Financial. Along with him, I have Zach Ingerbritsen, who's a technical field lead at DataRobot. In terms of the agenda, I will talk about how to navigate agentic AI strategy with DataRobot and also have a conversation with our special guest, Santiago, who is the CDO at Mercury Financial. And we will then move on to an agentic AI demo showcasing the capabilities of agentic AI within our own platform. And we'll leave some space for Q&A towards the end. With that said, let's get started. We are really excited to share with you that DataRobot is a leader again in the Gartner Magic Quadrant for the data science and machine learning platforms. What has been really exciting for us is, especially this year, has been our position in the quadrant itself. As you can see, we have moved significantly, or we have improved significantly in terms of our position in the quadrant. And Gartner has recognized us for the completeness of vision as well as our ability to execute. In the report itself, Gartner has also mentioned three core strengths for DataRobot, the first being our vision. The vision that encompasses not only the end-to-end agentic AI platform that we have to offer to our customers to build, deliver, and deploy and govern these agentic AI apps and agents, but also it comprises of a set of pre-built agentic apps that are configurable and customizable. Second strength that they have highlighted for us is our ability to give our customers a multi-orchestration platform that makes it easy for them to seamlessly remove workloads from one platform to other, whether that is from on-prem to a cloud or to a hybrid cloud deployment. Thirdly, they have recognized us for our deeper understanding of the AI market itself. In fact, last year, we conducted an unmet needs study, and the three core challenges or the gaps which AI builders and leaders found was one, the gap in the AI value. Second was the confidence gap, and the third was the expertise gap. In fact, I was taking a look at the more recent studies from the industry analysts, especially Gartner, and these three core challenges continue to be the challenges that most of the organizations face. In fact, as per one of the reports from Gartner, 49% AI leaders find it hard to demonstrate AI value. 39% customers, 39% leaders and builders feel that customer trust is going to be a critical barrier to get to the agentic AI adoption. And finally, 42% feel that they lack AI talent and skills, partly because that the AI landscape is shifting and there are new tools and technologies that are getting available on a daily basis. One thing we can definitely add to this insight is our own learning. We, as a DataRobot, have been building and deploying production-grade applications in business environments for quite some time. And what we have many times heard from our customers and in general, even prospects, they get started because they have a huge investment in AI infrastructure. But what many organizations don't realize that really to get the scale and the adoption of the AI and the AI value, you also need to invest in tools and technology that can rapidly help you build and deploy AI apps. You need a robust set of governance and security capabilities. In addition, you need observability and tools to optimize your workloads so that you can monetize and you can monitor and monetize your technology stack effectively. And lastly, you need integration, you need tools, you need the AI stack that seamlessly integrates with your existing technology stack, and also have tools like pre-built apps and agent that you can quickly work around to build new use cases and test and try them within your organization to attain the value that you're looking for from your AI investments. So what is our DataRobot's vision? What is the DataRobot's vision? The way we envision our world to be, we do think that the world is going to shift towards the agentic AI or agent workforce. And we believe that is how we are going to deliver is through persona-based agentic apps. We believe there is going to be a shift from the monolithic investments in the monolithic applications to these persona-based applications that are connected with systems of record, multimodal data, or even real-time data. And what is going to hold these apps as well as the data sets is going to be the agentic AI layer. This layer is going to help with agent coordination, workflow management, as well as this agentic layer will come with the inbuilt guardrails as well as observability. So what does DataRobot have to really offer to our customers? One, we are offering our customers an end-to-end platform, agentic AI platform that gives the builders as well as organizations ability to build, deliver, deploy, and manage these agentic AI apps across the entire AI lifecycle. Second, we offer them pre-built customizable agentic AI apps and templates. We also call them recipes or blueprints that can really help accelerate their journey to drive that AI transformation across the organization. And thirdly, services. In the sense that many organizations feel that there is a gap in the AI talent or they might not have the right set of tools and technology, we work with them to drive that co-innovation and help build these solutions based on their business needs and their customizations. Let's peel the onion a little bit more and see what our integrated platform and apps solution really looks like. As I mentioned, we offer this end-to-end agentic AI platform, which gives the ability for businesses to develop, deliver, govern, orchestrate, and optimize their AI workloads. But apart from that, our platform is really open. By openness, I mean to say that you can seamlessly bring your own LLMs or integrate with any LLMs of your choice. It integrates with any AI tools and any data sources. In fact, our platform is infrastructure or agnostic. It can run on a public cloud, on-prem, hybrid cloud, or in a multi-cloud environment. Last but not least, it also seamlessly integrates with your enterprise applications, and so that the insights that are generated by AI can be delivered to that end user seamlessly. Coming back to the pre-built applications, which was our second offering, these are, as I mentioned, pre-built enterprise-grade agentic apps. These are fully customizable and configurable. These address the industry and specific use cases. And these come with built-in AI logic, app logic, as well as security logic, and can support multitude of AI workloads and use cases. Another problem many of you must have experienced and are talking about, but something that our customers often talk about is cost. As AI is becoming mainstream for most of the organization and the organizations are shifting from innovation projects to actually making AI part and parcel of every department, the cost is becoming a concern. And as we move to this agentic AI workforce, the cost is going to grow exponentially. To address this concern for our customers, we recently launched Sifter. Sifter is an open source framework that rapidly finds the best AI workflows, optimizing for cost, accuracy, and speed. In fact, we have done many benchmarks, and one of the data points here is that we did a benchmark against 3 RAG frameworks, and we saw 37% lower cost with no loss in accuracy. So a great value for customers who are looking to optimize costs while getting to the performance that they need from their AI stack. Early on, I mentioned that Gartner has recognized us for our multi-platform AI workload orchestrator. And many times our customers have talked about it that, hey, we don't have one kind of deployment in our ecosystem. They have multiple clouds. They also have deployments on premises. So this particular solution and capability within our platform really gives them the ability to move their workloads seamlessly across different environments, cost effectively and efficiently. Another pain point we talked about very upfront in this presentation was around the confidence gap in AI, and especially confidence gap in the AI outcomes. And we at DataRobot take it very seriously. Risk-proofing your AI agents across all dimensions is critical, and making sure that our customers feel and operate with confidence is critical. And to ensure that we make our product governance is part and big part of our technology stack or platform, and we want to make sure that we offer a reliable solution that meets your governance, security, and compliance needs. And we have multiple different capabilities that fall within these pillars, and let me walk you through a couple of them. For example, from a reliability point of view, we offer a real-time monitoring and drift management. From governance point of view, we ensure that you have full traceability and auditability. And from a security point of view, you have the ability to drive real-time intervention and moderation. In fact, we have built a multi-layer defense against jailbreaks as well as prompt injections. Lastly, compliance. Compliance is important for many organizations, and to make sure that we prevent unwanted AI responses and data leaks, we offer one-click compliance documentation as well as adhere to various compliance requirements, whether that is GDPR, HIPAA, EU, AI, and acts and other compliance requirements as well. Collaboration. I think we all know building AI technology, AI solutions is a complex endeavor. It involves multiple different personas across different parts of the organization to really get those insights delivered to the end user or the business user or the business leader so that they can make better decisions. And keeping that in mind, especially we being an AI company, we have made sure that is the centerpiece of our platform, that collaboration, that end-to-end seamless collaboration across different personas comes through in our platform to drive that efficiency that the organizations are looking for. Moving on to that third pillar, AI expertise as a challenge, as well as part of our offering that many organizations feel challenged because the rate at which the AI landscape is moving is pretty fast. And many times they need some kind of support, and we are here to offer that support. So to the organizations who are looking to co-innovate, we offer dedicated teams of experts to help build these applications, deliver and deploy these applications in their environment, and also make sure that those applications meet the governance policies and requirements of the organization. And we support the organizations with both the domain expertise in business or vertical industry areas, as well as the AI ML space as well. With that, I'll stop my presentation here and transition over to the next segment of this particular webinar, that is having a conversation with our esteemed guest, Santiago. Welcome, Santiago.
Thank you.
Santiago, I know I talked a lot about the platform or value prop, as well as what challenges our customers are facing and how we address them. To kick off this discussion, the very first question I have for you is, you have been working with DataRobot for a while. Can you share the key business challenges that you were facing when you were exploring a solution, and what led you to explore an AI platform like DataRobot?
Sure. So we're like any other company, continuing to grow and thinking through how do we integrate two really distinct groups. The first group being entrenched data scientists that have been with us for years and have had 20 or 30 years in the field, and they're used to using very old systems such as SAS or Python to develop their models. So that's being the first group. And the second group are, people just out of college that are starting to understand their career, and they've grown up in a very different environment. What we're missing is that connectivity point, and DataRobot offers that for us. The ability to go in, have both of these meet into a tool, and both learn from one another on a standard battlefield, if you will. In addition, it offers the ability to use the university, which is something that was key for us as we try to bring our younger or more inexperienced people up to speed. It's very easy for me to send them to the university to understand something like target drift, rather than me sitting down and trying to chat GPT an answer for them, for example. I find that they learn a lot better through these shorter videos than if we had had a sit down for 4 or 5 hours and walk through it with a structured class, if you will. So the two have been able to integrate into the system. It's reduced our ability or our cost to develop models. In addition, one of the things that we recognized is as people retire or they leave the company, we were losing a lot of this modeling that was built on 5 or 6 different systems that were all working kind of in conjunction with one another. And it was very hard to trace it back. So the traceability has also been a fantastic win for us because now everything's in DataRobot. It's a one-use tool. And so we can trace the model from beginning to end.
Thank you for providing that insight. To have a follow-up question, I don't know if you got a chance to read the report, but I have been reading a few reports from Gartner itself, and they are recommending the end-to-end unified AI lifecycle platform. My question to you is, how has the DataRobot and platform really helped your team reshape your AI strategy and get to the business value that you were looking for when you started investing in AI and just getting that engine started?
So there's so many tools out there. I will tell you, we sat down with AWS and one of my biggest issues with AWS has been trying to figure out their own platform is a nightmare. Their GUI system is everywhere. It's very hard for me to train individuals. We have to sit down with AWS and run classes all the time to understand where to click and where not to click. It's much more seamless. So speed to market is a huge win for us. But as a highly regulated industry, I'm going to tell you something that we are facing today, which is the idea that the CFPB, so I'm in credit cards just to make sure everybody knew that, and CFPB has not been downgraded, so they're not as powerful as they used to be, which takes a problem where I had 1 or 2 entities asking or auditing me to every single state now asking questions. So where we have an integrated system, it makes it a lot easier for me to focus on one entity that I need to understand the guardrails and specific conditions of a specific state or even region of what I can and can't allow, rather than focusing on distributed systems where I go, oh, okay, well, we satisfied for one part of this, but there's maybe other parts where we haven't been able to attack the, Maryland specific clause.
So, you talked about governance, right? From a highly regulated industry point of view, which is so important that you have to meet certain requirements. In your journey, and maybe this is a transition or segue to my next question, but I wanted to understand, how are you making sure that as the conversation is shifting towards agentic AI and agent workforce platforms, how are you envisioning your AI strategy to shift? And what challenges are you anticipating that you may encounter while you're making this transition?
It's such a funny thing, Savita. We had, 2 years ago, and ChatGPT just started, let's say. I had people terrified to go into the system. Nobody wanted to work with this thing. They thought that it was very scary. And now I have people asking me, well, can we just have agentic do it for us? And it's such a quick dynamic change in business. I would say our particular strategy, because we're a highly regulated industry, is that we will allow, let's say, a call to happen. Agentic will summarize that call for us, and it will say the next best actions for the call, whether it be credit line increase, send them a new card, whatever it might be, and it gets the system prepared to do those things. But ultimately, there needs to be a person in the middle, and that person is still human. And for us, all that will happen is it will shorten the timeline and make it faster for that agent to complete their actions. But ultimately, there is still the decision maker. And for us, that's important because if the CFPB or any of these state regulators ever show up and tell me, hey, how come Savita didn't get that credit line increase? I can't simply come back and say, oh, let me check my AI model and figure out why that happened. I need to be able to go back and say this human ultimately made the decision that she was not going to get that line increase.
Mhm. I know when we were chatting early on before this webinar, one aspect you talked about, and which I alluded to in this presentation as well, was around the cost conversation, right? As a CDO, you had to go to the finance teams to justify the cost. And that's where, most of the organization are feeling challenged, right? They have they are investing or have invested in AI, but they are not finding the value. Do you have any insight you would like to share with our audiences here in terms of how do you navigate that aspect of it, especially given that, like, no, you're still figuring out what the KPIs should be to measure the ROI?
So it's a funny discussion. I actually had it with AWS. And one of the things that not only me, but other industry leaders shared with them was that, especially in the line of ML, for example, there is this idea that no matter how you use AWS, it's kind of a toll booth. The more times I press the button, the more I get charged. It's very hard to sell that to a finance team. A finance team wants a structured value at the end that they have to put into their accounting system to say, Santi, it was $100,000 to do this project. So one of the things that has afforded us is by joining with DataRobot, we have effectively pacified our finance team, and it makes it so much easier for me to measure ROI because it's simply based off a fixed number. It is not measurable dependent on whether or not I change certain variables or how often I run the system. One thing that I will kind of give as guidance to those on the call is beware of solutions looking for problems. It's been an issue that I've met with other business leaders on, especially in AI or Gen AI, is people get very excited to develop these plans. But what they're doing is developing a very powerful tool to do a very small job. And so, especially when we go to agentic, find those parts where it matters, where there is a business case already, and agentic can step in and solve it faster.
Mhm. Coming to the business problem, like now that you talked about it, one of the things and aspects which many of our customers many times feel is that how do I find the right business problem to solve? Is like now I'm because there can be different like now AI is such a broad set of technology, very horizontal, and can be applied to different use cases and different scenarios across every different department. Like now, how do you have any guidance or in terms of what your journey was like in terms of defining which ones to start with and which ones to invest more in?
So I would say find a great partner internally. And what I mean, DataRobot's a great partner externally, but internally find a great partner, align with them. In our experience, what we did is we aligned with customer service and we identified a group of people that we could work with. They understood the product and we were able to show the ROI working very closely with them. And then we made that very public in the company. And what that helped us do is gain the belief and the respect that the system could solve those kind of questions. And then we had people coming to us asking us to help them. Now, what I would tell you is, and I know it's hard, everybody has blinders on. They go, I want to solve this with AI. Stop. Think for a minute and say, is an ML model faster? Is simply an analysis faster? Really, you should be thinking about agentic AI as the ultimate tool necessary to tackle a problem that otherwise would not be tackled, that you couldn't figure out. So I think that in my instance, what has helped us is making sure that we keep our customers internally happy by providing a value that otherwise a KPI or a machine learning model in traditional analytics could not solve for.
Mhm. I have one more question. I know this conversation can be going for a longer period of time, but you talked about partnership. One is the internal partnership, right? Your stakeholders that you want to make sure that they are informed, they see value as well. But then you talked about like now your partnership with a vendor like DataRobot, who has not been just a technology vendor to you, but much more than that. Can you talk a little bit more on that aspect, like no? That vendor selection is so important here because you just don't want a set of technology. You want the expertise to come along with it. Because as I mentioned early on, that one of the challenges for lots of the customers is that they may not have the right talent, or they may have the talent, but it's still not there yet, given the shift in the change that is happening so rapidly. So can you talk a little bit about this engagement with DataRobot and like, where you found the synergies there?
Sure. So one of the things I would say has been one of the best parts of DataRobot for us has been engaging with professional services. I urge anybody on the phone who either has DataRobot or is considering DataRobot to engage with professional services. What we were surprised in is we thought that when we engaged with them, they were just going to give us a modeler who was going to walk us through where to click on the system and was going to read a rock curve and tell us the outcome of that. I'll excuse Zach, so hopefully he doesn't get he doesn't feel attacked. But what happened was we were trying to solve for a very specific scenario. In our case, was understanding debt relief services and how that affected our customers. When we got on the phone call, the individual actually had worked on exactly those models before. And so they were able to provide specific expertise to derive the most value from this model. And the most important thing for me as an executive is, when did we overfit the model? Because it's a great thing to train and get 90% predictive power on your training side. But then when you run it the next month or you fully launch a program, suddenly that drops to 60% and you're pulling out your hair going, why? I'd rather stay at a 78%, but have that constant than try to gain this massive amount of predictive power. That's just frankly false. So working with your individuals have really given that a rise to a lot of better knowledge internally. We actually record our videos that we have with you so that we can play it back for new people as well, so they can see not just where to click and how to look at it, but the thought process. And that's really the winner, is the thought process behind your experts. Because they not only do they explain it to us, they explain their train of thought. And then that allows my teams to now build off that for the next run.
No, great. Thank you so much, Santiago. I appreciate you being our champion and also sharing some insights here. I one last question if I have to ask, I will ask is given especially for the audience here, especially coming from a highly regulated industry, where are you investing from an agent workforce point of view? Is there any direction that you're taking specially that might help folks who are coming from that industry?
So one of the things we're heavily investing in right now is understanding our customers' plight. There's macroeconomic variables that are attacking. We all know about the social or the student loan repayments that are occurring. It's hard for us to gauge where that impacts our customers. And I'll throw in there as well. Every year now we hear about fires in California, hurricanes in Florida. We were solving for those things with a blanket method, where we were just saying, we'll just take out late fees, we'll give you payment holidays. What we identified is it's much smarter to wait and understand what the customer's actual plight is and understand what they are expecting from us. And I'll give you an example. For the hurricanes, we were giving back late fees, we were giving payment holidays. What we found out is the customer said, you know what I really need? I need a credit line increase, whether it be temporary, because I need to relocate. And I said, oh, I understand now. The late fee wouldn't have helped you, and the payment holiday doesn't help you. You need to be able to move your family to a hotel a state away. Now we're able to act on that information. And by the way, this is where I think agentic makes any type of Gen AI really makes the impact. There is no analytics that I would have ran. There is no KPI that I would have watched that would have given me that answer. It is simply through the ability to digest our conversations with our customers that we're able to get that insight that we never had before.
Oh, this is wonderful. This is a great insight. So what you're really saying is go back to the basics and understand the problems and challenges that your customers are facing, and look at them more objectively and see how this technology can really solve it, especially Gen AI and agentic AI, where it gives you the ability to do more than just the insight and data from that data crunching. Great. Thank you, Santiago. I really appreciate you talking to us, taking time to be here. And in interest of time, I will now pass on the baton to the next segment of this webinar, that is to Zach, who is going to showcase us the agentic AI in action. Zach, I'm going to ask you to join, and I'll stop my presentation here so that you can take over.
Sounds good. Thank you, Savita.
Thank you.
All right. So while I'm getting my screen up, a number of people have found it already, but we do have a Q&A option here. So if you do have any questions as we go through, whether it's for Santiago or for someone on the DataRobot team, please feel free to drop your questions in the Q&A, and we'll do our best to answer either. live while we're here, or we can write out a response to you. So we're going to go through and do a demo, a walkthrough on the platform. And as you've heard, DataRobot is an end-to-end agentic AI platform. In addition to our best-in-class predictive modeling, we do have a suite of tools to develop and deliver and govern enterprise-grade agentic workflows and components. So today we'll go through a few examples. First of an agentic chat interface, which hopefully you should all be seeing right now. Then how can we make these chats reusable and business ready? And then how can we go and build and operate these models in production? So there is a lot to get through. We won't be going super deep on any of these topics, but I do hope that this will be enough to at least pique your interest in the platform and where we're going. And if you're interested in a follow-up, please do reach out and we can go deeper on either the code first aspect, the application templates that we're going to talk about, or ecosystem integrations. So we'll set the stage. Imagine that you are a supply chain or a business analyst and you're hit with either changing tariffs or severe weather or shutting down a port. You need timely access to your data across different systems, but maybe you right now depend on different data teams for them to do data pulls, get SQL or get reports. And you also need clarity and auditability for the insights that you want to act on. Where can agents meaningfully contribute to this? Well, we can have agents that can provide access to all of the relevant data and insights, both internal data. We can connect to either flat files, we can connect to databases. In this particular case, we are connected to a Snowflake database, but we can connect to SAP and BigQuery and a number of others. So we need access to data. This can also be external data, so public data that we're pulling in and aggregating in. We also need a way for your team to check their work or check the work of the agent. And we need to be able to surface any critical business decisions for your approval. So like Santiago said, we don't necessarily want the agents pulling the trigger and taking actions all on their own. We do need a human in the loop. So we do need some human in the loop feedback in order for us to do this safely and responsibly. So you need fast, transparent answers using real data. Talk to My Data, which is this app, lets you do that with natural language data queries. So here we have a number of different chats. We have EDA on my data sets. We can come in, we can see the results. We have resulting plots. We can go through and not just see the results and the explanation, but we can see the behind the scenes, what actually went on. We can take a look at the code that was generated by our agents. We can take a look at the actual data set that was generated by the agents. We can also take a look at the insights. So this will give us a nice summary responding to the question that we asked, the data that it pulled, and then it can also recommend some follow-up questions. So we can decide, maybe we want to follow up on this one and see the distribution of our sales across different stores. So we might need to know where we need to ship things. So we can run this. This will hit a DataRobot agent on the back end. It is going, everything is running through a DataRobot deployment. So everything is traceable and auditable. We'll get to see the actual deployments in a little bit. But this solves the classic kind of speed versus transparency trade-off. You can ask your question, get a quick chart, but then you also get the SQL behind it, and you can immediately refine your approach. And this keeps the power in the hands of the users without waiting for days for a data pull. And so this is great. It allows your business users to interact with data quickly while still maintaining transparency of what transformations are occurring. But we're working on at DataRobot with agents to take it further is to run it with more human in the loop feedback and be able to update as your data changes. So this is one workflow. We'll switch over to the kind of the next workflow. One of the key limitations of traditional chat with data approaches is that they're kind of ephemeral. Each conversation starts fresh and there's no way to build on previous work or create reusable workflows. And that's where our agents come in. Our agents let you persist knowledge and reuse workflows and kind of move from ad hoc analyses to scalable intelligence. So this is the same kind of workflow, but now the agent has saved the result and created what we call a panel. So this is our panels application. This is in active development right now. It shows the consolidated results of my conversations with these agents. And each panel is an interaction with an agent. And you can see data sets, you can see charts, you can see my reports all kind of organized together. And here's the key differentiator. We don't just show you the results, but we also provide complete lineage tracking. So we can take a look at one of these panels, pop it open, and we can see all of the computations that happened in order to get to this final stage. Similar to talk to my data, we can also come through and we can see the code that was generated at each step, and we can come in and we can make changes or adjustments if we need to. So now at this point, let's say you're head of analytics or a compliance officer and you need clear audit trails for reports. This is how we can get there. So we can interactively work with the agent to create these, but then we have all of the, we have all of the receipts, so to speak, on the back end. And you can go through and you can see everything that happened. And all right, and I'm back. It wouldn't be a live demo without some kind of technical snafu. Let me get my screen share back up. All right. Share. Okay. So instead of rerunning queries every time and coming into a chat and redoing your work at every step, you can make your insights durable and shareable and fully traceable. So the next time I need this information, maybe I don't even need to use the agent at all. Or if we do, we have a built-in chat over here. So we can actually build on top of the things that we've done before and keep on going. So we have this kind of persistence layer where we can keep the things that worked and then build on top of them. And this isn't just limited to structured data. This is also, we have text reports with research and analysis, similar to what you'd get with a research agent, but we also support things like video analysis and image analysis. We have drone inspection examples where the agent has automatically annotated a video with where there are timestamps that there are areas with debris or loose cables. So our agents are truly multimodal because they can access data from multiple sources and use various self-hosted and cloud-based LLMs for all sorts of different purposes. And if anyone here is in the NVIDIA ecosystem, we also have the ability to host NIMs on our platform and use those as agents. So if you are interested in that, feel free to reach out to us and we can talk about that in a follow-up. So whether your data lives in spreadsheets or PDFs or drone footage, your agents can work across them seamlessly. So now let's pretend that you're an IT manager or a CDO and you need control and compliance over the AI that you're using. We need to be able to validate all of these LLM-based workflows. So we can come in and for all of the agents that we're developing, if anybody's familiar with our playground for talking with just directly with LLMs, we also have the ability to pull in agentic workflows. So we can ask questions directly to our agents, and then we can also review all of the tracing information from here. So we can see what the agent is doing at each step here. So this particular agent has a number of different tools, including vector database lookup and persistent memory, It also has a web search tool, an archive search tool. But we can come through and we can see how long did each step take? Did everything work as expected? We can click in on any of these and see what the inputs and outputs were. So this really gives you granular insights into what is going on at each step. We also have the ability to add in compliance documentation into this process and compliance tests. So not just how is our agent doing on the actual task we want it to do, but are we doing this in a safe and ethical way that's not going to we're not disrupting some of the natural things that the LLM will do or not respond to. So for example, we have a bias compliance test, jailbreak compliance tests. We have a number of these. So you can run all of your LLMs or agents through a battery of tests to make sure that they are behaving in a way that is safe and ethical to use. And then this all ties back into the broader DataRobot platform. When we run these agents through our governance framework, through the bias testing and compliance validation, we then also have monitoring on the deployment side. So for anyone who has used DataRobot on the predictive side before, you get all of the same kind of monitoring out of the box. So you can get your service health out of the box, all of the tracing back to individual resources, so we know the lineage of where this model came from, and you can jump directly to all of these. But then for agentic work, we do also have the similar kind of tracing information, and we raise information to you in a way that is immediately useful. So for example, here, we can dig into this particular chat. So we're notified that we hit an error because if we scroll down, we had an issue accessing one of our deployments. And this is because I had deactivated the deployment and then tried to use the agent. So we're now getting alerted that, oh, hey, there's an issue and it's with this particular step. So when you're trying to step through and understand exactly what the model is doing at every step, this gives you really deep traceability into that. And on the data science or IT side, gives you a lot of debugging capabilities into this. For anyone who's not familiar with DataRobot and our deployments and our prediction layer, this is also, you don't just have to use these for chatbots. You don't have to use them just on our platform. We create batch and real-time endpoints that you can use. So this allows you to go through and integrate this with your systems, your dev, test, or prod systems. Everything is accessible via API calls. So we do have application templates that make it easy to get up and running and host your applications directly on DataRobot, like Talk to My Data, like Panels. Both of these are running directly on the platform. But we don't want to tie you down and limit you to only working on the platform. We allow you to take this and then integrate elsewhere. You can integrate this in with your systems. So in addition to the metrics that I showed you before, you might also be concerned about, as I have this out in production and actually being used, what are the metrics that I care about, and how are those changing over time? Are they improving? Are they getting worse? So we have a number of our out-of-the-box metrics, but we also have the ability for you to come in and customize which metrics we're tracking. So for your individual use cases, we can host the calculations to be able to compute these metrics as we go through. So if you have specific KPIs that you're trying to hit, or if you have specific metrics that you're interested in the performance of your model, we can come in and we can track these things over time. And we have a number of built-in hosted metrics, a number of templates that you can use. If none of those are exactly what you want, you can always bring your own code. You can bring your own code, you can bring your own agents, you can bring your own LLMs, all of these things we didn't get into today, but you can also bring all of your own code and run it on the platform the same way we're doing any of these built-in, any of these kind of out-of-the-box kinds of models or applications. And I'm approaching the end of my time. The last thing that I did want to point out is that we do also have the ability to host MCP servers. So if anybody's familiar with this, also my camera zoomed in. So anybody who is familiar with MCP servers, they're a way of being able to host and govern a set of tools or prompt templates or resources. You can host MCP servers on DataRobot. And we also have a DataRobot MCP server that you can run either externally or on DataRobot. So we can switch over and we can show Claude for a second. So not only can you host your agents on DataRobot, but you can also use external tools and connect into DataRobot. So here, if we take a look at my servers, I have this DataRobot deployments MCP server, which is being hosted directly on DataRobot. We can do things like list what deployments we have available. We can list what data sets we have, and then we can actually interact with this, interact with our DataRobot resources, maybe kick off a modeling run or score some predictions, all from whichever program you want to use. So we try to give you the ability to run everything on DataRobot, or we try to let it be flexible so that you can kind of mix and match and use the tools that you want the way that you want to. So I went a little bit over my time, but I think we still have 10 or 15 minutes for questions. So I will turn it back over to Savita.
Sure. Thank you, Zach, for the wonderful demo. There are a few questions that are in the pipeline. Especially for you, because we did try to address many of them in via chat. I think one for you specifically is, Zach, anything on an equity ETF analysis in US stock markets for existing clients you can share with me so I can get a feel of how DataRobot works in that realm, especially from a finance or point of view.
Yeah, so on the platform, I mentioned that we do have application templates. We have a couple of application templates that might be relevant. We have, so one is just a time series forecasting dashboard where you can load in your multi-series data, and we can do forecasts over time. And if you're familiar with DataRobot's time series forecasting, it's one of our best-in-class modeling features that we have. So being able to use time series approaches and do forecasts that way, that can be very useful. We also have one of our templates in the finance suite is about cash flow forecasting, which could probably be adapted for a use case like that, where we can actually go through and predict on, for the cash flow forecasting, we predict on individual invoice. I get my camera. Sorry about that. We predict on individual invoice level data and then aggregate up to try to predict for cash flow. So both of those could be modified for different use cases, and those are both things that we have out of the box.
Okay, great. We have one question for Santiago. This is from Sachin Khurana, who's asking, please tell us some of the use cases adapted these days by DataRobot.
Sure. So I would tell you some of the use cases that we've tackled individually have been, so I'll talk a little bit about the ML space and talk about Gen AI in a second too. So from an ML space, we've been looking at being able to identify what are the key elements that would make somebody go past due. That's a big part of our business. We need to understand what are the major indicators. This is always changing, like I mentioned earlier with the student loan thing that came out of kind of left field. So we have a problem. We have 3,000 bureau attributes. We have double or triple that of internal attributes for each customer. The question is, what are those going to let us know most likely that you have an issue? So we were able to gather all that data relatively quickly, throw it through DataRobot, and have it help us understand the difference between is it the burden of other cards on your bureau that's causing you to go past due? Is it the fact that you have not your minimum payment has increased dramatically over the last 3 months that's making you go past due? And what I love about that versus traditional modeling systems is that it does find the best model it's a one click. I know some people don't like the idea of just clicking the button and having it do the math, but I say it offers us two major wins. One is rapid releases of models, and it tends to run 200 to 300 models every single time we click that button. And then the second thing that I really like is the traditional modeling methodologies that we had. Sometimes my analysts would say, 72 is like my benchmark. If I hit 72 predictive power, I'm going to stop. Sometimes you can get to 78. You just didn't move to the next model that might have gotten you there. So I would say we really try to look at these massive dumps of data in the credit card realm to understand how to carve out the group that's having the hardest difficulty, and then use that as a predictive view to see who's starting to migrate towards delinquency. And then on Gen AI, we're solving questions such as why can't I activate my card? And it was something as simple as a question that was asked by one of our executives: do we have an activation issue? And we were looking through all our metrics and everything looked fine. And then we asked Gen AI, hey, review all these customer transcripts. And we found out that we had a loop in one of our call centers that would cause somebody to go through an activation process, 6 or 7 times, take over an hour and a half, and then frankly, they would just quit at the end of it. And each time they quit, that cost us about $200. So it was a great thing. We found it easy to correct once you understand the implication, but all of our other normal KPIs were not capturing that issue.
Thank you, Santiago. There's one more question. How do you envision the financial use cases balancing predictive side and DataRobot and agentic AI capabilities offered? Will they complement each other or replace certain functions fully? Maybe I can address this question to some extent, is that our platform is not only offering the agentic and AI capabilities, it also has a comprehensive set of generative AI capabilities as well as predictive AI capabilities. So no matter where your journey is coming from in terms of where and what you want to use, all of those are part of our platform that you can avail anytime.
Yeah. And if I could add on top of that, as I mentioned at the very end, we have that MCP server implementation, which uses deployments as tools, essentially. So because you have everything kind of in one place, if you build a predictive model on the platform and you have your data in the AI catalog, we can point the model to where it needs to go to get the data to then score the predictions. So you can have predictions get updated in real time by your agents as you're going along. So we do think that there's, not to use too much of a business speak term, but I think there is a really good synergy between the predictive modeling and the generative when you have them in the same place, because now you can leverage all of the work that you've already been doing for years in the predictive world, and you can give those abilities to these models to then start kind of predicting out into the future. And with the explainability, getting the predict explanations back, understanding why those predictions were being made, and then the models can use that. So
I completely agree, Zach. And the way I would step into this is say we're actually using Gen AI to help us create variables to run our ML. So an example of that would be what we explained earlier with the FEMA issues that we've faced with the hurricanes and the fires. It makes it easier for us to affect an understanding of who actually was impacted by those conditions via the transcription and the Gen AI understanding, digesting all that information and saying, here's the impact, here's what they're asking for, and creating more what we'll call direct variables that we can then throw into a machine learning algorithm and go, okay, now how does that fit on a larger scale of what it is we're doing on X, whether it be late fees or such. So I do see them complementing one another. And I do see that one of the other things we do is we say, okay, let's go the other way. Machine learning is going to identify a group of people that we have a concern with. And we'll come back and say, for example, with student loans, it'll say, hey, these guys' bureau attributes are starting to look a little shaky. We can then go to Gen AI and go, okay, let's see the last 10 calls for each one of these customers and see what happened on those calls. Is there something of true concern here, or are they simply telling us that they're migrating to a different employment and they're going to be fine? So I do see both of them complementing one another.
Great, thank you. So there is one question. I don't have a clear answer for it, but Zach, I'm hoping that you might. For the video analytics, AI analytics, what annotation tech is behind the scene? Is there a VLM or HD 4K video? I know that we are showing some part of the demo.
Yeah, so that particular one is using an NVIDIA NIM. I don't know which specific one, but it is using a NIM that's hosted on the platform.
Great. Okay, let me take a look. One more. Well, I mean, this is not a question, this is a compliment. Love the new shirt. I wear my old ones all the time. Thank you for that. Hopefully you'll see our new rebranded shirts as well. Zach is wearing the older one. Okay, I
So
know.
there's a question out here, if you don't mind, I'll answer.
Sure, absolutely.
So it said, based on your observations, one of the main reasons for 90% accuracy cross-validation down to 60% real-world application is an overfitting, someone addressing cost validation. And the answer to that is yes and no. When we find that there's a model or we load something to DataRobot and it is struggling to hit, let's say, a benchmark of 65% predictive confidence, predictive power, sometimes data scientists can go in and modify bin size and change a couple other things here and there and then artificially raise it. And you can work the model a little bit to make it look like the cross validation is doing what it's supposed to be doing. And that's somewhat, I want them to do that to really make the best model we have on hand. But what ends up happening is that they tend to overestimate, they tend to work too much inside the model. And so it looks like it's a lump of gold. And then when we go to actually run it, we see that there is a fool's gold. It's pyrite. It doesn't actually perform the way we thought it was going to. So having that knowledge, having that industry knowledge to tell us, you know, 72 is the best you're going to get when you look at release services. You're not going to get better than that. Is good for us to know.
Okay, great. Thank you, Santiago. I know we are almost top of our time, and there are still a few questions that we couldn't get to, but we'll make sure that we respond back to you in some form or fashion. I did want to have a quick last minute thing that I wanted to share. Let me quickly go to the slideshow mode so that I get the opportunity. So first of all, thank you, Zach, for a wonderful video. If you are, any one of you is really interested and excited to working with us, we do have different set of workshops, both for leaders as well as practitioners that we can offer, and we can very work with you and figure out the right set of the use cases that you're interested to explore. So basically, we have two things. One, for leaders, if you want to work with us to build your agentic AI strategy, and for practitioners, we offer different kinds of workshops. One, like where we can offer our industry expertise to build these agents with you, or then and the second one is if you are interested in really learning more about our platform and the platform capabilities, we can also do a more technical workshop with you to help you understand how you can build these agents and agent workforce for your own business. So I just wanted to make sure I got a time to plug in the call to action at the end of this presentation. But with that said, I do want to take a moment to thank everyone who joined us, and apologies if we couldn't get to some of the questions that you asked. Also, I want to thank Santiago and Zach for partnering with us on this particular webinar. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
It was a pleasure, absolute pleasure.